Hello, welcome to another Frog Popstar video. Today we're going to be talking about the news for August, or everything that got changed in August. Now we're going to leave out a few really minor changes, of course. You know, this is just, I've just condensed everything down to things that really kind of matter. So let's get right into it. First off, they added XP to many battleground objectives like capturing the flags and the bases. This is great because these low-level battlegrounds drag on for so long because it isn't worth doing anything other than just sitting in mid and killing everybody. Can be pretty miserable. Very good change. The prestige daily quests are now sequential. This means that it won't be like, you know, day 1 will be dungeons, day 2 will be BGs, day 3 will be quests, and it will always be that way. So there'll be no more, you know, 3 days in a row of it being the BG quest or whatever. So that's another really good change. A lot of the longer dungeons are going to give more experience to put them more in line with the more efficient dungeons. I imagine people will still be leaving Wailing Caverns right away because it's just not a very fun place to be. But that's okay, at least it gives more experience. They've increased the experience gain from brawls by 25%. This is neat because the brawls, I mean, I logged on day 1, the first hour that brawls were allowed to be queued, and I got in queue. I was in queue for 10 seconds, and it says, you've been in queue for a while. You want to queue for BGs instead? And I was like, okay. And I never got to do brawl. I queue for them periodically, never got to do one. I've not met anyone who was able to get inside one. I don't know why it tells you to queue for a BG after like 10-15 seconds. It's pretty ridiculous, but they increased the experience from them by 25%. So maybe people will start doing them now. That would be nice, because I would like to at least see them. PvP vendors for level 70 gear were added to Stormwind and Orgrimmar. This is great. This will be very nice not to have to go to Shatrath for all this. Form Pvp was nerfed. This, you know, Form is just a scourge. Like, I like Form, but it is periodically so overpowered, such a disaster. It's just never balanced right. Like, it either blows or it dominates high-end PvP because it scales so well with gear. You know, it's like every couple patches, Form's going to be some kind of disaster. So they had to nerf it again. Nothing new. Stormhammer got buffed. The cooldown was reduced and the range was increased, and the buff it applies lasts longer. So pretty massive buffs for Stormhammer. I think Stormhammer is a pretty fun build too. Definitely worth picking up. I'm glad they buffed it. It's a nice build. It's very enjoyable to play. All the Burning Crusade bosses had their armor reduced. A few bosses had their armor reduced even further. So this is going to be pretty huge for melee builds, you know, help get them, you know, more in line with the other builds. Which, you know, really the only builds that are doing primarily physical damage, that would be like, what, Melee Hunter, Rogue, Warrior builds? Because Pally does a lot of magic damage. I mean, of course it still helps. It still helps all, you know, every melee, and every Hunter build. But, or, you know, the Hunter builds aren't doing magic. So, yeah, so pretty huge, because, you know, hybrids and casters and stuff do tend to do a bit better. So, nice that they did that. Dragon Warrior got some pretty big buffs. And, oh, I typed PvE nerfs, but it's PvP nerfs. Dragon Warrior got PvE buffs, or just general buffs, which led to them getting PvP nerfs to offset the buffs they got. Dragon Warrior, you know, the funny thing on Ascension, people just... You know, you've got all these different class combos and stuff, but people just love it when you could just play as a better version of a regular class or regular spec. So Dragon Warrior, of course, I mean, everyone knew Dragon Warrior was going to be a huge hit. Like I said, you know, like when they combine like Destruction, Warlock, and Frost Mage, people don't seem to like it, but when they just, you know, buff up Warrior, people are all over that, which is really funny given the whole classless philosophy thing. But, you know, very nice buffs for Dragon Warrior, which it really wasn't that bad before, I didn't think. I kind of liked it. So, anyway, nice Dragon Warrior buffs. Windrager was, got some slight PvP nerfs, which I believe it got a little bit of buffs, so that, offsets that. Endless Agony was reworked quite a bit to add so now it adds a stack when you deal damage with Mind Flay and increases damage done to the target with the Curse of Doom. In addition, when dealing damage with Mind Blast or Shadow Word Death, the duration of Curse of Agony is extended. Each time you cast a Shadow Spell or deal damage with Mind Flay. So, Endless Agony was, you might not know this, but on Ascension, every spec has a legendary enchant that just lets you play the spec as like it's Wrath of the Lich King or something. Like just, it just, like the Demo Warlock has the one for Demon Form, which you just play an enhanced version of the Demology Warlock from Wrath, and then the Destro Warlock, and every other spec. The original enchants, they gave every spec one that was just for its, so you could just play it kind of like you would on Wrath, but a little better. And Endless Agony was Affliction, so now Affliction doesn't have one of those. And Endless Agony wasn't really great before, in my opinion. So so now it's like for Shadow Priest, Affliction, Warlock hybrid spec, which is fine, but I think Affliction really could use an actual enchant. Kind of deserves an actual enchant, I think. Now the Endless Agony is like for a Shadow Priest kind of weird build. Evoker, this is crazy. They increased the chance for Brain Freeze and Missile Barrage by 10% as a baseline effect. So this will make the spec less frustrating. The spec already did pretty good DPS, but now the DPS it does is crazy. I was watching someone do like 14k with pretty bad gear the other day. So Evoker is pretty crazy. Definitely pick this one up. I've got a build guide for it in my caster build video. But yeah, Evoker, very crazy. Okay. I really like this build in general, by this is a very fun build, and now they made it even more fun with more procs. So Temporal Blast cast time reduced to 2.2 seconds from 2.5 seconds. When I'm playing a bad build, I just pick this up and level with it, so this is nice. I think the Temporal Blast build itself is decent. I guess a good bit more decent now. I don't really like playing it as a serious build, but I just spam Temporal Blast at low levels and it's pretty good. Total Eclipse got reworked, kind of. It still does the same thing, sorta. But it makes Solar Eclipse give you 10% spell crit, and makes your next Wrath apply Entangling Roots to players or Insect Swarm to monsters. Lunar Eclipse increases your arcane damage by 10%, 5% versus players, and makes your next Starfire apply a 2-second stun to players, or Moonfire to monsters. So, and also, they kept the thing where it triggers Owlkin Frenzy rank 3. And Owlkin Frenzy rank 3 is a 10% arcane and nature damage buff, and also causes you to restore mana. So, Total Eclipse, I liked this build a lot before, made it even better with this. Another one that's also in my caster build guide video. Totally recommend picking up Total Eclipse. I recommended it before, definitely recommend it now. These are pretty big buffs for it. A lot of Retro Druid and Retro Shaman focused playstyles got some reworks and some buffs. I don't know that much about healers. I was reading it, it was just kind of gibberish to me. I haven't really looked too much. There's a few healers I've played on here, but I wasn't familiar with the I haven't played with the legendary enchants it was talking about, but those specs both got buffed. The huge buffs for Hunter came out this month, as I already discussed in my other video, so you can refer to that if you want to know more about it. And now this is very questionable, I think. Increases the damage of Water Nova and Electrified Water Nova by 50% from the legendary Mystic Enchant Hydromancer. Spell power scaling remains unchanged, and Hydromancer Conductor now also increases the damage of your next Electrocute by 25%, 10% against players per stack. In addition, the duration of Water Nova has been increased to 8 seconds, up from 6. And this is crazy because I feel like this build, at least in like the lower end BGs, is everywhere. It's been everywhere for a while now. Kind of wild they buffed it. I guess they buffed it for PvE. I guess we'll see on this. No one really plays this in PvE. Its damage is not great in PvE. Maybe it'll be good now, but it is a BG Scourge spec. It's quite annoying in BGs. A few new items were added to the store. Some Weapon Transmog and Druid Form Transmog, if that interests you. And then this just dropped like yesterday, but diminishing return timers for crowd controls are now 18 seconds from 15. Which is just nice, makes it a little bit harder to, CC you into oblivion. Another funny little thing is it lets you tame certain hunter pets, like one of the Devilosaurs fears you, and you just barely can't get it if you don't have Fear Ward or something. So it's kind of funny this actually will handle that, I believe. So, but it's nice, CC on Ascension is too prevalent. It's really irritating. But that's all for this video, so tune in next month, or, you know, if a big news drops, I'll make another video. But that's all for the August changelog, all the stuff that I thought really mattered. So, yeah, tune in for the next one, and subscribe. Thank you.